I'll call the August 14th meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July.
Make a motion to approve meeting minutes from July.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer report.
All right, so for the treasurer's report, we're on page 3 of your packet if you're in person, and then Pam has it up on the screen as well. So starting at the top, we had a beginning balance in our checking account of $84,170, less our expenses of $8,833, plus our addition of revenue of $73,792, giving us an ending balance in our checking of $149,128. Moving to total assets, our UBS balance is $474,227, giving the township total assets of $623,355. And as we move down the page, you can see our expenses year over year. So our expenses were $28,000 lower in July of 2024 compared to last year. And the biggest driver of this was last July we actually paid a pretty large snow removal bill. We were not plowing snow in July, but that's when we paid the bill for $26,000 last year. And then on the revenue side, we collected almost $63,000 more in revenue in July, and this was just due to the timing of the property taxes. So last year we received them in June, this year we received them in July. And then they are a little bit higher year over year because of that increase we took for road improvement funds. And then scrolling to the bottom of the page, I'll just go to the very far bottom. The year-to-date surplus is $51,374. Compared to this time last year was $17,543. So it's less snow removal and then the extra property taxes we've put in the plan for the road projects. So that's a July financial statement, and then just one other call out is that in early August, I'm working on transferring $250,000 out of our UBS account into our checking account to pay for our Pioneer Road and 99th Street projects. So you'll see that kind of big change next one.
Thank you, Keisha.
I'll make a motion to approve treasurer's report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay bills 123 through 141 for a grand total of $22,329.27.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dick, do you want to just give a quick
Karla, you're up.
recap of the questions you asked before?
I
Or just let them
don't
present?
really remember what I sent
Okay,
them.
all right, there you go.
Yeah.
It might be a little high.
There we go. And then the next guy who comes up is going to have to make it a little taller. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board, for inviting me tonight. Always appreciate coming to chat about some issues. Supervisor Polta had emailed a few questions and asked if maybe I would come to talk a little bit tonight about the future of County Road 19. Also about kind of the longevity, the structure capacity of the county roads. And then also the idea of if we would ever turn back County Road, take back County, Great Cloud Island Township Road. So Great Cloud Island Trail Road. So I am bringing the county engineer with me tonight so that he has a lot of the history and the detailed data of the studies that have been done to talk about the answers to these questions. And I'm going to be right here to also maybe do some cleanup after he's done with the PowerPoint. But just happy to be here and to go over this and to be partners in whatever we can do to collaborate. And if there are things we can do to help you determine like what you would need for, you know, the how to cost out and price out how much you would need for roads or whatever, we would be more than willing to help do that for you. Different things like that to be a partner. But I'm going to let Wayne Sandberg, our Public Works Director and County Engineer, who has the data, kind of go through what we've done here in the most recent past and give you some of the information.
Kind of, you go stay up there, Mayor.
Yep.
Kind of our big concern on all of this is the 366 houses they built down there.
Yep,
And
the Dunes property.
yeah, and we're gonna get all that traffic on Gray Cloud Trail.
Yep.
And so far as we've been told from the builder, there should be about 31,000 truckloads of stuff going down there.
Yep.
So that's 31,000 truckloads coming, 30,000 loads coming back.
Yep.
And that don't include the people moving in. And then I talked to Jennifer Levitt in Cottage Grove, and I said, on 103rd Street, I said, you're redoing 103rd and Gray Cloud Trail, you're doing 103rd and Hadley, and you're gonna do this 19A project, you know, when you get the funding to that. But I said, you ain't doing the bridge, you got the bridge and mill. It's kinda like running a 24-inch water main, and in the middle of it, you put a 50-foot piece of 2-inch pipe. I said, why don't you do that railroad bridge while you're at it? Here, she told me, she said, 15 million reasons. She said it's about $15 million to fix it, and it's
Yeah.
about 17 years out.
Yes, that's true.
And
So
that's a big.
all the concrete is gonna come past our houses.
Yeah.
So the concern for us is, you know, Cottage Grove turned around and approved all these houses, but they don't have a road to get there. So between us and St. Paul Park, we suffer the burden of their poor planning, to put it bluntly. You know, and we're wondering, and then along with that, I put in here,
Hey, Dick, should we let Wayne
Well, I
go
just-
through his thing and see what he answers and then go?
well, he might know what we're looking for if I tell him.
Yeah.
Your questions are in the presentation.
Yeah, so
Okay.
maybe let's let
Okay.
Wayne, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I
You want
appreciate
to
the,
move
yeah, I appreciate the tee up, and then we'll. So, Wayne Sandberg, county engineer, with the county, and so appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and maybe hopefully try to answer some of these questions. May not always be the answers you want to hear, but I'll try to tell you where we're at as a county on all these topics. So I basically cut and paste out of the email that Commissioner or Supervisor Polta sent to us, and they're here in the PowerPoint. I do have paper copies if anybody else wants them. They're up here. They can be passed around. So really, like, as Commissioner Bigham said, it was 3 topics. Like, what's the future of County Road 19 or the East-West County Road in the area? I'll touch on that. Kind of what's the structural capacity of the Gray Cloud Island Trail south? Because you are going to take a lot of trucks the way it's set up right now. And the last one is the county ever going to consider taking jurisdiction back of Gray Cloud Island Trail south? So what we'll start with is kind of the future of County Road 19, and I want to go back a few years to the Southwest Arterial Study for those that may not have been around to really refresh memories of that. So if you think about south of Highway 61 and east of County Road 75, it's a pretty big area of the county where there is no county arterial highway at all right now. So it's a big chunk of the county that is missing a county route. And we knew that for a number of years, and we've talked to the city of Cottage Grove about what would be the future there, and we decided probably like 2018 timeframe, we said we should really put together a study and lay out what's that future route going to look like before development fills that all in and we lose the opportunity to have that route. Because county roads are typically pretty wide, they have major impact, and you want to plan for those ahead of time. So we started the Southwest Arterial Study. I show here all the stakeholders. Gray Cloud Township was at the table as part of that study. And we also had a number of other stakeholders. And the goal, like I said, was to find a route for an east-west county arterial that would essentially connect the lower island of Gray Cloud with Highway 61. That was kind of the 2 endpoints. This slide here is just an excerpt from the study. I do have a full copy of the study that I'll leave behind if anybody wants to take that with them and have some reading. We looked at a number of alternative alignments, and just to kind of ground yourself on this aerial photo here, you can kind of see the lower island right here. Highway 61 runs diagonally across the upper right side of the map. Here's the Gray Cloud Channel here. So you can see we had a lot of different alternatives getting from the 61 and County Road 19 interchange, which is here, Innovation, all the way over to the lower island. Multiple different routes. Some went up and over and through the upper island. Some came right down through the south part of Cottage Grove here and right down. And so we looked at a number of different alternatives. We ranked them on a number of categories. Accessibility, impact, ease of construction, so forth. This is another excerpt from the study, and it shows what ultimately was chosen as the preferred alternative. And it's really pretty much a direct route. Again, here's Highway 61 running diagonal. Here's the interchange at Innovation and 61. And basically, we follow, section M here is a brand new alignment. Instead of going south at Innovation into the 3M facility, we would curve directly west, cross the railroad track at a new crossing. Then right about where it turns green here, we would connect up with 100th and Jamaica area. And then we run on 100th Street South, that already exists, but would become a county route in the future, until we get close to Hadley, at which point on section H, we do an S curve on a new alignment heading south to 103rd Street. And then this red here is where it crosses 103rd Street, crosses under the railroad. And then we would head down Gray Cloud Island Trail south to the lower island. The other alternative was to run straight through the Dunes property, and that alternative was dismissed by the city of Cottage Grove as they got into the Dunes development. So we're left with the alternative here that shows in orange. That's the preferred alternative, and that's in our plans now. It's in the county plan, it's in the city of Cottage Grove's plan for how we would get from, solve that problem of getting from 61 to the lower island. So now to moving towards building it, it's not an easy route to build, it's expensive, especially the new alignment section, and that's what we're focusing on right now. That's that segment M in the map that I showed, which is on the eastern edge of the project, the vision. But we're trying to get from 61, cutting through that property and that new alignment, essentially realigning Innovation Road is what's happening. We're gonna build a new crossing over the railroad track and then eventually connect in with 100th near Jamaica. That's segment 1, that's what we've been working on with the design. This does change access to the 3M facility, so there's been a lot of negotiation with 3M about how to make sure we get their vehicles in and out of there, the trucks. And the current cost estimate for just that segment is $47 million. And so we do not have full funding secured. So even that project, while we're planning and designing, you can see some of the designs here we have, we do not have a construction time frame yet. We're hoping it's in the next 3 to 5 years, but really it depends on if we can secure all that money. And so the county is working cooperatively with City of Cottage Grove. We're trying to find different funding sources, including federal, state, and local, and we don't have it fully figured out yet. So I share that, that's important to know because we don't have a construction timeline. That means that there's still nothing happening out there, right? It's still a future thing. So that brings us to the 103rd Street Bridge. What's the plan for that? And you kind of mentioned it. It's currently under city jurisdiction. Even though that vision shows it being a county road someday, that's still quite a ways out. That's going to be after we do that first segment. And so that's probably at least 10 years, if not further out. So it's going to remain under City of Cottage Grove jurisdiction for at least the next decade, we believe. And there is no date for transfer, but there's also no date for construction because of what you said. It's going to be a very expensive project, and we believe coordination with the railroad will take a long time. An example of what that looks like, we are working right now on a project up in Baytown Township. We're realigning, not really even realigning, we're trying to match the grade of a railroad. We're on year 10 and we still don't have the agreements from the railroad. We've already actually built our county project. If you ever drive up in that area by Connerwood 14, okay, south of the prison, you'll see that we have our whole project built, and then right at the railroad, we still have the old road in place. And we won't even get to that. We were told by the railroad last week that they think it'll be next year before they're willing to sign the agreements. So it can take a decade or more to work out arrangements with the railroad, and there's nothing for them, there's no reason for them to rush. They have nothing that drives their decision making. So I share that again as an example of, I don't know what this will look like, but that's what it's kind of what you got to prepare for.
You can't get cement trucks through that.
Right, it's too short, it's too low.
It's way too low.
We actually had a truck hit that a few weeks ago, right? Yeah.
He had good speed. He made a good run.
I seen a guy hit it. I was following him, and I seen him hit it, and it crinkled up like a
Accordion.
can. Yeah. Thank you. So there's no doubt, nobody disputes that needs to be fixed, replaced. That needs to be a higher elevation bridge, or that we got to dig the road down. Somehow we've got to make that work. The challenge is it's going to be very expensive, it's going to be very long to coordinate, and it's not in anyone's plan right now. That's the bad news. I wish I had a better news for you, but that's the reality. We don't have it.
Because all the cement trucks will come by our houses.
Yes.
There'll be hundreds of them.
Yep. That's the city's plan right now. It's outside of our control, but as part of that conversation we had a few months ago, we said, the question was, what is really the structural capacity of that Gray Cloud Island Trail South? Can it handle those trucks? And we did some testing based on your request. And the initial data that came back using what's called falling weight deflectometer. And what that is they go out and they take a weight, a known weight, and they drop it onto the pavement. They have sensors that measure the deflection of the pavement when it hits. That's the industry standard way of testing kind of the structural capacity of a road.
You told us that before.
Yeah.
Is
And
that the thump test you guys
yes,
talked about?
yep. And so that data came back to us. We've shared that with you. It was a bit of a delay. I apologize for the delay. It was a confusion on our end, but we got it to you, over to you. And what this shows here is that Gray Cloud Island Trail South does have a lot of structural capacity. So from a capacity standpoint, you shouldn't be too worried as long as the trucks are legally loaded. And most cement trucks nowadays are legally loaded. They don't really try to skirt that because the fines are very high if you try to violate that.
Like 9 yards.
Yeah, so I think from that perspective, now that doesn't address the fact that the pavement itself can start to crack because of all those trucks, and you gotta deal with the traffic. I'm not disputing that, but I'm saying structurally, I think you're in a good spot. Now, there was a request for even additional data. It's a little bit, it's called more of a destructive type data where we actually core into the pavement. It's not too bad, we'll put about a 4-inch core. We had put an order into the contractor to do that. They are backlogged. I do have good news, it's being done this week, and so we're hoping to get that data next week, and that will help update this data. I don't expect major changes, but you'll at least have a really comprehensive analysis of what that road is like. And the idea is that after all these trucks run over that road, we do these same tests and we talk about what kind of damage happened to that road and who's responsible to help fix that. So that's in play and it's happening, and we are working with you on that.
So who would pay for it then? I mean, how would we get whoever to foot the bill?
I think that's part of probably our next meeting with the city. We're gonna have to sit down and figure that out. I don't think there's no clear answer. There's no, frankly, industry standard related to that.
Okay.
Sometimes under development agreements, you can have a developer pay for some road improvements, but even under current state law, that is hard to do. So a lot of times it's left with the government agencies that own the road to deal with it. And in this case, I think part of that's that negotiation with the township and Cottage Grove, like what are the impacts when we find those out, and then who's responsible to help mitigate them?
I did talk to the guy that's in charge for, what's that, Rachel, the other day?
Yeah, yep.
And they did their own video of it and testing.
Yeah, so they're ready too.
Themselves,
Yeah.
yeah, so they're looking at it.
So that leads us to the question number 3, which is essentially, what's the future of Great Cloud Island Trail? Should these be county roads? And I'll start by just reminding everyone, county roads do have a specific purpose. We don't just take back any road, and just because a road has more traffic doesn't mean it's automatically a county road. For the county system, we look at really trying to create those arterial routes throughout the county that are serving commuters. They are the designated truck routes. Our county road system, we're working towards building a 10-ton route system. They're high speed, high volume. We do have multimodal components to most of our roads as we build them out. And they really connect arterials and expressways and freeways. So if you want to go from your neighborhood to the major expressway, you're probably going to be on a county road for a portion of that. That's the concept for it. Again, that doesn't mean that every busy road is a county road, though. There are very busy collector roads that are oftentimes, the majority of times, under city or township ownership. They can be busy. They can also serve trucks. And I have a couple examples here in this area. 80th Street is a city route, 90th Street is a city route, Lake Road and Woodbury is a city route, even though those do serve some of the similar functions. So out of that study, though, the future of Great Cloud Trail that we have in our plans right now is as follows. South of 103rd, that's identified to be a county road someday. That's part of that negotiation in the future. And so we would be a party to whatever needs to be done with that road moving forward. But north of 103rd, the county has no plans to take jurisdiction of that road. And I don't see that changing based on this impact of traffic.
Okay.
That's our plan right now.
Yeah.
I also remind you that County Road 75, as you know, Dick, is identified to be transferred to the township Sunday, but we aren't pushing that at all in the township. We recognize that.
We keep trying to erase that.
Yeah, right. So that's still in the plan, and I wanted to mention it, but it's not something that we're actively pursuing with you right now. So that's where the plans are right now. Be happy to try to answer any questions if there are any, and turn it over to Commissioner Bigham as well.
I'll stand up with them if you guys have any questions.
So, you know, the road base is good for that much weight, but it's narrow and the trucks are, you know, basically the wheels are, you know, when they're going this far from the edge. So that makes a difference versus having a, 14-foot lane or whatever. You know, so that does, you know, that's gonna help damage it. What weight rating could we, is it possible for us to put like a 7-ton or 9-ton or, you know, something other than, well, I suppose it's 9-ton right now.
Yeah, I think the township has the authority to post anything you deem as a town board, but if you're challenged on that, they will go back to the data that we're collecting for you, and they'll probably get their own data if they really wanted to. And what the data will show is that you don't really have a strong position to go lower than 9 ton that you have it today.
So, okay, so the data is basically showing 9 ton.
Yeah. Now, with that said, I mean, there are many times where we deal with developers where you've got an access road that's less than desirable for their development. That's when you would sit down with Rachel Contracting and say, look, our neighbors can't tolerate concrete trucks going 60 miles an hour, drifting over the center line. We'd like you to implement some safety protocols with your contractors to have a top speed limit, or maybe you can only run certain hours of the day to minimize the impact of folks when they come home from work. They want to relax and they don't need to hear concrete trucks all evening. There are things you can do proactively, in my opinion, with the contractor to try to make it livable. Can you ban the trucks? Probably not.
So I was, to piggyback off what Wayne was saying, I would recommend that, sitting down with Rachel Development, with the mayor, and keeping that line of communication over that. Maybe there are some, parameters, boundaries that they could do if you have concerns on a few of the roads that, obviously for the quality of life for your residents too, they want to be good neighbors. And this is a big development. It's a big development for Cottage Grove. It's a big development for the island. So, where I think they could be good partners. I think Rachel Development is going to be willing to do that, and I think the mayor would be willing to have that conversation. And I think just maybe reaching out to both Rachel and the development and the mayor would be a good step.
Were we gonna have a follow-up meeting for the one that we had with you prior, when we met with city administrator and everybody?
I think that was the plan, once we had the data and they had more information on the schedule. Now, my understanding is that the schedule is already in place. I haven't been tracking it too close, but they're gonna start construction relatively soon, next couple of weeks. So
It'll be a while for houses, I think.
So we should have that meeting relatively soon, I think, if we want to have it. And I think I can go back to the office tomorrow and start working on pulling that together with the city.
Do you think there's any possibility on that 103rd Street crossing to at least dig it out and make it deeper? Not reconstruct it, but don't do anything with the railroad piers. Just dig it down that 3-4. Yeah, it's a city street.
Yeah, so that would be their jurisdiction. I guess during that meeting, you may want to bring that up.
But with a little push from the county doesn't hurt anything.
I got enough fights with.
Well, the reason being is.
Yeah, but I just think at the end of the day, I would have that conversation with them, to talk with them about it. I think, as Wayne has said, that it's not part of our plan right now to deal with it, and it is a city street, so
But as a county engineer, you think that'd be possible that, you don't have to redo the whole thing, at least in the bottom.
Without having known how the bridge was built, I'd say unlikely, and because when you start to dig down, you're actually starting to get into the foundations of the piers.
Even if they made it single lane.
You might even have some lateral deflection that might be a concern, and the railroad's not gonna let you do anything that puts their rail line at risk.
Yeah, because that's right under the concrete is the first footing.
So I would say unlikely, but I think it's worth asking. We can talk about that. We can add it to the agenda for the next meeting.
Because that would solve a lot of problems, like, because that bridge is pretty much a single lane anyway if a truck's going through there, or 2 bigger cars. So even if you made it single lane, stayed away from the concrete structures on the side, at least dug that middle out, get it down 3-4 feet, and then you'd have your 14-foot clearance, and then all the trucks could go.
Why don't we add it to the agenda, and we can prep the city and see if they can have a better answer.
But, yeah, why don't you throw that on the agenda when we meet again?
That makes
'Cause,
sense.
that would, because Jennifer told me, eventually that's gotta go down about 4 feet anyway.
Yeah.
So,
she's an engineer.
Yeah.
That's where she came.
Yeah.
So here's my 2 cents, and you obviously heard us at the meeting sitting down, but Cottage Grove designed this entire development based off their road study that just crinkled up and threw away because it wasn't even close to accurate. So now we're in a position that either A, there was just negligence, and they were that dumb that could think concrete trucks could go underneath that bridge, and all these trucks would actually go out their way, or they put a botched engineer plan together and just knew it'd come our way.
So keep in mind.
Their plan wasn't, they designed and opened up this development based off all their traffic going out to 61 that way. And that's where we as a township, that's where we're getting screwed over, because and that's where I go. Our roads are like compensation stuff. How do you hold the city accountable for their lack of planning? Because they shouldn't have done this project with the current, the newer road study. And that's where, that's where my struggle is, that we walk in and we see residents online saying all the trucks are coming through, and we got Myron Bailey on Facebook saying, oh no, we got the bridge height. And then you go sit down and we get a road plan saying that all these equipment, all this stuff is gonna fit under the bridge per the city, and it's not accurate. And so now we're just faced with,
Mayor Bailey is not overly concerned about any of our concerns.
and that's where I guess I just look out for our residents. It's the time, it's the stuff, and to even consider that they think traffic's going out. We all live right here and we still go through St. Paul Park because it's way faster to get to 70th and 61 than it is to bomb up through Jamaica and all that stuff.
Rachel's own pickups don't go
Yeah.
that way. They
Yeah,
come
I
this
think
way.
that-
They're pickup trucks, you know.
There's a lot to cut out there. I think that might be part of that conversation with Rachel, is what vehicles can go under the bridge and can you divide your traffic? I think it's, to your question, how can you hold someone liable? That's hard to do. They're public roads, right?
Right.
So they're open to the public. But I do believe that the city is open to the conversation, and I think they need to hear your frustration, your concerns, and then there should be a collaborative approach to trying to minimize it. I don't think you're not gonna make it go away.
No.
The development's gonna happen. People are gonna make, the developers
Yeah.
have money into this. They're gonna have to make their money. But there are ways, I know in other areas, we've been able to try to find a balance. It's not always perfect, but it's better. I think that should be your goal.
Yeah.
The sad part is we go up there and it's kind of like, this is Cottage Grove, it's our development, it's our thing. You guys are over there, it's kind of like, stay over there. It's kind of like your problem, not our problem. That's kind of,
That's how you feel. I can understand
Yeah.
that. I think a
and I
dialogue
understand
would
it
help
from them
that,
too.
yeah.
Well,
my-
that road is gonna have at least 200 concrete trucks going off of it. And the ongoing loading of their dump trucks or side
Okay,
Yeah,
dumps.
the grading trucks. And I, not knowing how much their site grading is mass graded and how it's balanced, another part of that conversation should be is really how often are there gonna be, like, a lot of times in these construction projects, you see waves where you have a lot of concrete, and then you might have weeks where there's not a lot going on, and that might be helpful too, to know that.
well, what's kind of interesting is they got a printout from Rachel on how many trucks, and me and Dan were there. This thing had about 15,000, and before I even got to the meeting, I roughly come up with, and I said, I think there's gonna be about 30,000. The first thing we seen was half the concrete trucks are gonna go on 103rd Bridge.
Ah,
Dan
okay.
says, well, the bridge is 10.4, concrete trucks like 12.6. Well, we might have to have them redo that. They came back, the total trucks was 31,000. That's not,
Right.
and we ain't really concerned, myself as a board member, the traffic, the pickups, the small vehicle, that, you live with that, that's just the way life is. We're concerned about the 80,000-pound concrete trucks coming down there, that's our concern. It ain't
We just don't
pickups
have
and cars.
curb, like none of our roads are curbed, so it just pushes, we're nervous it'll
Yeah.
push out wide and
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
Spread 'em out, yep.
The only other thing for the county then, I guess that, that tight, or that M road, like with how much money that costs, that's so far out.
Yeah, the M
Is
road.
is
yeah.
there a way to, with the alignment, to work on the 103rd first, like to switch gears where at least you're getting cars pumped out with a better route to Jamaica and, that split up there, or not
I think
really?
it's worth talking about. It's not in our plan, and one of the reasons why we chose that M route first was that a lot of the development that we knew we had to serve with the arterial is happening right now in Cottage Grove, those trucks, and so we're trying to find a way to get them to
Yeah.
C1 safely. That's why N was chosen first. It's probably unlikely we'd pivot to that, but I think we can
Yeah.
talk about that too on the agenda, add that as a conversation point.
Well, they
3M
can't,
needs- 3M
Yeah.
was a major, and the roundabout, the traffic, everything
Yeah.
up there was, the development that's coming on the other side there was just so many different factors of why we started up at the M spot.
I mean, I just tell you, it wouldn't change any, it'd be a nicer road getting out of there, but all those residents that live there, they all go through St. Paul Park because it's quicker, so no
Yeah.
matter what you do to it, it's.
well, another thing too, keep in mind, your future Great Cloud Park down here, and them 366 homes, where are the kids gonna go on their
Yeah,
bicycles?
377.
They ain't going up that 103rd hill, because I lived over there as a kid. You go this way, so you got that narrow road, you got
No
that
trail.
development down there, no bike path. Maybe you should take part of the funding for the 19A, tell Cottage Grove, we're gonna put it on Great Cloud Trail, because that has a bigger, your 366 homes are really gonna have a bigger effect down here than
one
on,
number he
than on
shows.
Hunter Street, I mean,
Sure, yeah, I mean, they're all worth talking about for sure.
yeah.
It's gonna be,
Well,
definitely
we
the
got
area's gonna
some-
change.
We got some cracking on that road, right where Amy lives.
Right.
Well, anyway, well, that's,
We should, yeah, we need to just make sure, so we should probably just reach out to Cottage Grove and find out where the meeting's at and just get
Yeah, get
a
going
second
on that.
follow-up and get it.
well, you guys would be setting
I
that
think
up with them,
maybe,
won't you?
we had staff in the first one, I think it'd probably be wise to have Commissioner Bingham and the mayor there in
Yeah.
the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah, the first one was staff related, and then I think the ones here on out, we should have folks that, elected officials that,
Yeah.
so we can all,
well, Cottage Grove had most of the powers to be there from Public Works and Jennifer and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
well, this guy has all the power too.
We want somebody with the money.
That's
That's our county commissioner.
We just did his budget yesterday, so don't talk to me
Yeah.
about money.
Well, thank you
All right,
for
thank
coming.
Thank you all.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, one question. Becca.
Wayne,
See, as a township, we have the right to change speed limits on our own roads. What would it take to change the speed limit on the county roads? You know, with all these trucks running 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're gonna have all these concrete trucks running the trail at 40 miles an hour. We can change the speed limit sign, but what can the county do out here?
To that point, the county does not have the authority to set speed limits like cities and townships do. We follow a state prescribed process and law, which has the Minnesota Department of Transportation sets all speed limits on county highways as well as state roads. And they do a speed study. We just did a speed study when we repaved this road and it came back at where it's at. So I wouldn't expect if we were to do another study, the speed limit would change. Now, I will say you're at 40. I've got many, many miles of county road across this county where residents would love to have 40. So it's probably not gonna make you feel better, but you're at a number that's sought after by many other neighborhoods that can't get that. So I think 40 is reasonable, generally reasonable. The issue there is if people are speeding faster than that, that's what we wanna focus on, so.
I got one more question for you. Back to weight ratings. On Great Cloud Island Drive, the road going that way, you guys did that thumb test and that and that. What weight rating could we put on that? Because that road's in not good shape.
That one came back to me odd because it said 9 or 10 tons in the study, and I thought that was odd because the road is in really rough shape.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that some of this testing that we're gonna do can give us a better indication of that. And to Commissioner Bigham's point, I think we should sit down outside of this whole other issue and talk about your pavement program, because that road's not gonna last
No.
like we were
No.
thinking, yeah.
That's-
It's
So-
a tiny
We're willing
road.
We're willing to help you guys, from a county perspective, figure out budgeting for that. Like, we have tools and everything like that to help that from,
They've
to
done,
know how
they've
much.
done that in the past for us.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Be great.
we can do that outside of this. I think that's a useful tool you guys should take advantage of us for.
Because our road thing, in fact, we're gonna bring it up later. What are we gonna put away, about 60,000 next year or something for roads? But we're gonna do Pioneer Road this summer and
Yeah.
99th here, and our next worst street is 105th. And that'll probably cost us around $300,000. So then the next one would be the trail, and that's probably in today's dollars, about a $500,000 road. So that's why we don't want that beat up any worse than it is.
Yeah.
You know?
There might be some things we can talk about when we dig into it that are much lower costs and might buy you some more time versus a complete fix. We've been doing that in a number of roads too, because we're in the same boat. You don't always have enough money to do everything all at once,
Yeah.
so you gotta kind of space them out a little bit. So we can talk about that.
Okay.
thank you guys very much, appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Dick, for my benefit, remind me, the whole trail is in the townships, or is it half and half or something?
Great Cloud Trail, I left at the Y or down here?
County is from your pit here to the Y,
Yep.
and then the trail is township to your other, from pit to pit would be township.
Okay.
And then out the back through Cottage
Pit to
Grove.
pit is Great Cloud Island Drive,
Yep.
and then Great Cloud Trail takes a left at the Y.
So, I know where Great Cloud Trail is that, is part of that Cottage Groves and part of that Great Clouds, or is it all?
No, St. Paul Park and
Cloud.
Gray Cloud.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's half and half.
And then you hit Cottage Grove when you get,
And then the other or something?
yeah, that was kind of a goof up on an annexation.
yeah.
I did ask Keith Frankie if he'd like to join us for this tonight, but I did not receive a reply.
Okay,
I thought, you know, because we're talking about the trail and it's
Yeah.
part of the St. Paul Park.
because you guys are gonna have some issues going that way too next summer when they tear up
Shut
Third
that
Street.
bridge down.
Because they're gonna redo Third Street from 75 all the way to Broadway. So I was kind of talking to our public works guy on what they intend to do, and he wasn't quite sure, so there's a possibility that thing could be, I can talk to you some other time on it. Let's just put it this way, you might not have an escape route for a while.
All right.
That's scheduled for 2025.
Pam, it sounded like you're gonna give a quick thing for the planning commission? Just a quick approval of what,
Yeah,
that's all it was?
Eduardo's not here, but,
Yep.
the only thing that was discussed,
Lynn
on,
Utech.
Monday was Lynn Utech's, business, and they approved to move it to you guys.
Yep. Thank you.
I got one other thing quick, Dan.
Okay.
This study that Wayne left with us, it's actually online on the county website. So anybody at home wants to see it, they can go look at it.
Does it show how many viewers are online? Next planning commission meeting is Monday, September 9th at 6:30 PM. Next town board meeting, Wednesday, September 11th at 7 PM. The continuation of that annual meeting, budget discussion, Wednesday, September 11th at 6 PM. Should be no other meetings. Speeding on Pioneer and new speed signs. You wanna talk about that?
I can, I see the new speed signs are up, they put 3 of them at 20 miles an hour. I still talk to the neighbors and still cars go flying by there. In fact, I was over working on a cemetery the other day, and here in the dirt part, somebody's got, must have had Dad's white Suburban, anybody that's home. Nice looking white Suburban, people don't live on Pioneer. They stopped on, floored it, took off sliding sideways, went ways again, stomped on it, took off sliding sideways. So if you got a white Suburban and you borrow it to your kid, you might want to check on it, because I can't picture an
Well, I
adult
don't-
buying a $60,000 Suburban and doing that.
I wasn't borrowing them to my kid. He was taking it at night,
Oh, okay.
the Bronco.
Well, this was in the daytime.
I did see a sweet paint job on roads. They can paint lines to make it look like speed bumps.
Oh.
It's just still flat. I don't know how long they fall for that, but
I had a question, Pam, when that thing we got, that speed study,
Right here.
it showed what's that top one? It showed 1,300 cars or something?
Yes.
Total number of vehicles, 50.
Total number of vehicles for that amount of time, the measurement period is 7/17 to 7/23.
yeah,
Oh,
1,590.
6 days.
What's the 1592 up there?
That's the total number of vehicles
Total number of vehicles that went through there during that time frame.
by the speed sign.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy, right?
And
That's
the
hard to
lowest-
believe,
No, it's not.
isn't it? No?
6 days. That's great. That's a side road.
So it's this is really kind of weird to look at. The highest speed that was recorded on that was 25 miles per hour, okay? Well, you can argue with
I mean,
speed.
I think people see that thing though, and they probably slow down. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. The average speed that people did was 12 miles per hour.
Do the bikes go through that road at all, like cyclists?
No.
I
Dirt
wouldn't
road.
think so.
I know, I
because
don't think
of the
so,
road.
but,
Yeah.
okay.
But anyway,
Bunch
I
of
haven't heard
deer.
anything back from any resident since the 20 mile per hour. And I don't think we have any tickets or anything, but the sheriff's department is aware of it. And
Can we put a speed thing up without that sign to get the true numbers? Without the blinky sign that tells you how fast.
Is there any old ones of those on Craigslist, an old speed sign we just leave out there?
You know,
You don't camera on it.
In Florida, they got the trooper cars that are empty. They sit on the side of the highway.
you know, at one of our other meetings, Wayne Sandberg that was here, he talked about that,
Yeah.
them signs, and he said, they work both ways. He says, some people
Want the
use it
record.
to see how fast they can get going,
oh,
you know, so he
It
doesn't
logs
know.
out after the limit though.
Yeah, he said they can set a limit on it, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd help any, but.
Well, hopefully the complaints will slow down a little bit. Road weighting, we kind of just went through that. You got anything else you want to add to that? Should be good, huh?
Yeah, let's ask you guys, on Great Cloud Island Drive and 105th, the potholes on there. I talked to the, what do you call it? road guy in St. Paul Park, Public Works Director, yesterday, and asked him if they'd be interested in fixing them, patching them. He said, well, we're busy, but maybe in September. I said, well, they've had holes for 2 years, so it's probably not a big rush. And he said, either that or call that Frank at RCM. So
Yeah.
he said, email him.
Frank would come out.
Yeah.
They just
Real
do that
quick.
spray stuff.
So anyway, it's okay
Yeah.
if you two guys, if he gets back, I told him I'd check, you guys okay to, me to okay him to fill them holes, or call Frank if he don't wanna do it.
I mean, maybe with a little budget we could set, but yeah, I'm
Kind-
still nervous about this road coming in at the actual cost, cause it's way under their budget.
Yeah.
For Pioneer.
Well, we kinda gotta fix them potholes, so. And then, another thing.
Tune has changed.
Um,
Gotta
I'm-
cut the speed down.
On Pioneer Road, that culvert, Dan knows about this. Keith Peterson and Dan Sebaskowitz, they're gonna put a grading over that culvert and put rock along both sides of it to build up that shoulder. They're supposed to do that tomorrow. So, told them to send us the bill.
Yeah, and that, yeah.
That's it.
Who is it?
I would think with the-
Dan Spaskowitz and Keith Peterson?
And Keith Peterson, yeah. I told him, go down the hole, somebody whine and cry till you got a load of rock for free. No, I didn't.
Back to the road patching?
Yep.
I feel like we should probably get a budget for that to be able to prove unless it's
Which one, the patching?
just the patching.
To call somebody out asking for a thing, you're gonna drive them nuts, cause there's about 3 spots on the trail, and the rest is 105th, about 10 potholes.
So less than $5,000 or whatever.
Oh, it should be
Yeah.
1,500, or it should be less than $2,000, I mean. In fact, Keith even suggested just going up to Menards, but he's only thinking about 105th, and
Yeah.
get some cold patch and dump it in the holes.
So this is your list of them.
Residents put up with us not fixing them long enough. I think they're kinda, hey, fix these holes in my yard.
That's what you gave him. Potholes,
Yeah, I sent it to Pam,
The last time we did it?
this time, just,
Oh.
actually this morning.
17, so.
You wanna put what I sent you up there? Or the little map?
Your map?
There's where your holes are, Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't looking at. Sometimes you gotta trust people just not to rip you off.
So you got 12 holes there, and then on the other ones, there's like 1 or 2, and then some on the others.
The one in the middle there is one by Thin Fingers driveway, and then by 10699 there's one hole, and down by 10733 is a spot about 10 feet long where the blacktop's kinda separating.
Treasure?
Oh, another thing for the people at home, they're supposed to start, September 14th on Pioneer and 99th Street repaving them?
Starting when?
I think it was September 14th, wasn't it? Want me to
I don't know if I got
want me to
it.
look for
Yeah,
sure?
they sent that out.
Did I send it? I don't
Yeah.
recall.
That ring a bell, 14th?
Yeah.
Okay,
Does it? Okay, starting on 14?
yeah, tentatively.
Keith's just gonna
14th.
speak to the potholes quick.
Yeah, Dick, do you think it would be a hardship for them to give us a quote, or can we give them a maximum, or tell them to give us an estimate? I don't need a formal estimate.
You know what,
but-
for us to call somebody down for a $1,500 job and ask for a quote, the next time we call them, they probably won't respond.
Yeah, if it's $1,500, I mean, that's fine.
But I
I
just get
mean,
nervous that, I don't know if it was Geneva, we did something and the quote was one thing and it came in almost double and it was 20 grand.
Well, that
So
was-
that's what I get nervous about.
that was me and Dan, when we did all that patching and that guy
You
kinda,
and
he jumped
Paul
us.
went added scope of
Yeah.
work. Don't throw me in on that one.
Who was that? What was that? Pine Bend
That was-
Paving?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kinda chumped us, but
Right, so we just don't want that situation.
I don't,
Because you guys
I would-
might, you
I
might
would-
have a different opinion if
if-
the money came back different.
I'd be fine if St. Paul Park's out patching and they wanna do them, but as far as calling Frankie's, then I don't know. I mean, 105th, we let Pioneer go for a bit while we paid for the new road, so. either way,
well,
But that's fine.
neighbors are kinda upset with the holes over there, kinda.
You make a motion not, for an amount not to exceed X dollars.
Of course, we're not even getting a price for them. It would just be like time and material. Come down and fill the things.
Not to exceed.
Oh, Lynn, go ahead, Lynn.
Are they bonded and insured? What if they get hurt?
Who's that?
The
St.
people
Paul Park?
Yeah,
doing-
St. Paul Park and Frankie's will both be insured,
No,
yes.
I mean, this Peterson and Sobieski.
Well, he's our road boss, so we hire him to do,
So if they get hurt, they sue the township.
he
Anybody.
gets hurt picking up trees just like we do, we'd be in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, we do kind of, I don't know what the category is, I'd have to look at the exact name of the report, but I file a report every year on, quote unquote, employees of the township to make sure we're covered for any insurable
Okay.
activities. So like Dan's would be whatever is on that report, so as a road boss.
Okay, so back to the road patching. Are we not, yes, no, what are you guys deciding?
I just soon call, have them fix it. Be like calling a plumber out to fix one faucet, and you come out and give me a bid on fixing this faucet. What are you gonna do? You ain't gonna show up.
Well, like, maybe, like Tom's suggestion,
just
we
do
could
it
say,
not
if you
to
guys can
exceed
do
like
this, yeah, not
$4,000
to
or
exceed,
something?
whatever. So you don't need a quote, but just
I
tell
don't
them
think
that.
it's gonna be that much.
No,
No.
shouldn't be, but
It'd be half that.
We'll tell them not to exceed 2,500 or whatever the number is, but.
Well, it's time and material, so.
With all the material, and he's not just gonna take it
No.
out one day, all
No.
the material and do it. He's
you're
gonna
not,
come out
I don't
and
think you
look-
can get anything done for $1,500 on a road job.
Yep.
He's gonna come home, he's gonna get material, so when the time he looks at it, the
He'll,
time he comes home, he can say, "Just give me-"
he'll spray white paint around each one.
I don't know, email him some pictures or something, I don't know.
I sent them I didn't send a picture, I just showed them where they are. I don't know, somewhere along the line, you gotta trust people not to chump you too bad. I mean, we're not talking a $10,000 deal here, we're talking fixing some potholes.
Let's just see if St. Paul Park, if he gets to it, he gets to it, and if not, then we have
We
to
can do
evaluate.
it. You don't trust Frank?
Then I think we should get a quota for bringing a company in. I mean,
They got that spray patch machine.
Yeah.
It is coming
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been reasonable in the past or whatever, but we spent 40 grand a year at patching.
Well, we
Pioneer and
didn't
the
have
others.
him before, Paul and them did before us.
Yeah.
Me, you
They
never.
did all that spray stuff though.
Yeah.
They did
for
the
them.
spray stuff.
He didn't chump you on that, did he?
No, it was, I'm not kidding you, it was,
You guys gotta get out in today's day. and
Less than
age.
$2
You're retired
grand.
guys. I don't think you get anything for $1,500.
And trust, no, it's not about trust.
Okay, so we'll just wait and see if the St. Paul Park
Yeah.
guys fix it? Okay, all right.
Okay, just so we're wait.
So if any residents call, tell them to give them Dan's phone number.
Just tell them to replay last month's and the potholes help with the speed control. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's what Bolta said last month.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
Pioneer fixed.
Paybacks. All right, any other? None? So, new business, when do you guys wanna make a motion for Lynn's permit?
I'll make a motion to approve Lynn Utech's interim use permit.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Paul?
Yeah, so I'm gonna retire from the board. And unless they need me, they can't fill it up. If they can fill the spot, that's great. If they can't, then Pam will let me know, and I'll go to the next meeting. Meetings, to be planning commission and town board. So, but anyways, anybody that wants to come to the bar, I'm buying the first round.
Well, thanks.
Paul, I
Yeah,
just
thanks for your
wanna,
years of service.
years of
Yeah.
service for the
Yes.
township, the mentorship.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
How many years, Paul? How many years you
Over
served for the
20.
township? Over 20, yeah.
Well, I was on the planning commission, and that was completely different than the people now.
Can't imagine.
They were, yeah, I think most of them died. And then I got on the board, I went against Danny Hanna,
Okay.
and shit, it was like 70-20. Something like
He
Didn't have a
beat you,
coin
he
flip.
beat you that bad?
No, I smoked him. And then so he took his RV and they
Ran out of town?
ran out of town, yeah.
Lived in a parking lot at Treasure Island for a while.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
Okay,
Well, as a township, we really appreciate it.
yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm buying the first round.
Okay.
Any other, so then we'll have, with that, we'll have a state statute vacancy role to fill. State statute 367 when a vacancy occurs in the town office, town board shall fill the vacancy by appointment, except as provided. Kinda, I don't know if you wanna put that up, Pam, yeah. So with the vacancy, we're thinking, Phil Dupree has done some moderating for us at all the, annual meetings. I don't know if you'd be willing to step up for the township and fill the role.
This roll right here? Okay,
You making the motion, or?
So I could, yeah, I'll make the motion to appoint Phil Dupree to fill the vacancy.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Phil, appreciate that.
I got another appointment too, for the planning commission.
Okay.
I talked to Joan Miller a little while ago, and she's willing to be on the planning commission. So I'll actually, don't take a motion to appoint her, because actually, we've been doing this wrong all these years. Each board member can appoint 3 people. They don't need to be seconded or voted on or anything. So I'm just gonna, for myself, I'll appoint Joan Miller to the planning commission. Then Pam, you go swear her in when you get time?
Sure can.
Okay.
Yay. Okay.
All right,
Yeah, the way it says in there, each
I think it's 2.
Each
but I
board
don't
member,
think it's 3,
no,
but
3,
it
it's
is
3, each
okay.
one can do 3. You can
Perfect.
put them on, you can take them off, whatever you want, your appointees.
Oh, we can fire ours?
Yeah, you can fire them too, yeah.
All right,
Could we get a picture of you guys welcoming Phil into?
sure.
'Cause I got one of him and Leah, and then we'll get
Yeah,
one.
she hasn't been, we'll do it at the swear-in. We'll probably swear him in
Now,
now? All right.
yes,
Yeah.
because we knew about this
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Do I need to read that, or do you?
Actually, I have to do it because
Perfect.
I'm a notary,
Yeah.
so this is really weird. Just once.
Oh, I gotta talk about the budget too, though, before we're done.
Again, Paul, thanks for all the many years.
Yes.
Township owes you a debt of gratitude,
Yes.
for sure.
We owe you the first round.
I'm there.
No, I'm getting the first round.
Well, you get the first, and he's got a
Okay.
new job, he gets the second.
You wanna start me?
Actually, okay, so I don't, this is weird, it doesn't feel like an oath.
He just
Oath of
repeats after
office.
you, I think.
Okay, so
Phil Dupree.
okay, sorry, I got it. I, Phil Dupree, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota.
Your turn, Phil.
You gotta reply that.
Oh, I swear.
You gotta read the
You gotta
whole
read the whole
read
thing.
You gotta
Has it
read
been a
it.
while since you guys did your marriage
Yeah.
thing here?
You gotta
So the pastor speaks?
repeat
and-
after me.
He's gun shy after a marriage ceremony.
I, Phil Dupree, do solemnly swear
Okay, I, Phil Dupree, do solemnly swear.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Minnesota,
That I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Minnesota.
and faithfully for and on behalf of the citizens of Great Cloud Island,
And faithfully for and on behalf of the citizens of Great Cloud Island.
discharge the duties of the office of supervisor of the town of Great Cloud Island,
Discharge the duties of the office of supervisor of the town of Great Cloud Island.
in the county of Washington and the state of Minnesota,
In the county of Washington and the state of Minnesota.
to the best of my judgment and ability,
To the best of my judgment and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
And as my wife
All right,
says.
then.
Good job, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Phil.
You got it.
All right, you had one other thing for the budget?
I just wanted to ask Keisha, okay, we got our budget meeting coming up
Yep,
next month?
Yep.
Before our regular meeting?
correct.
Are we all, I just wanna make sure we're all somewhat happy to where we ended up after our last meeting. If we need to make any changes, I just wanna give us time if we had to. I'm pretty sure this is the most
That was from the
recent.
March annual meeting, it'd be the most recent.
Yeah, you take a look at that, see if that's the one that you think is current. So we had a few of them floating around, and I'm thinking that's the one.
Yeah, this looks overall current from what I remember.
Okay,
So I can I'll make sure to re-email it to,
all of us?
I guess, Dick, Dan, and then now Phil.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to re-email and kind of with my notes on what because that was based on like my proposal.
Yep.
And then we were gonna wait till the September meeting to, I
And then
guess, make some
roads,
adjustments, yeah.
and then roads, we'd be putting 80,000 a year toward roads.
That's what I built as a placeholder.
Yeah, which I think is probably about right, because just looking at our budget, after we get done with Pioneer, and this year, I'm just rough, we'll probably have about 150,000 in the bank,
No, we should have more than that.
maybe, hopefully.
Yep, because we've got, like I said, snow plowing was lower in 2024 here, so we've got a little extra we can kind of bank from that.
Okay.
To put towards roads, and then we obviously know 99 and Pioneer came in a little bit less than we were anticipating,
Yeah.
so they'll be in
Okay.
an okay spot.
Because if we put away 80 grand a year, and that was just toward capital, that wasn't
Yep.
patching, doing anything else. And if that road was pushing 400 at the time, we'd probably be, looking
Couple
at
years
4
out.
or 5 years out till we'd have the money to do that. And then another thing to think about is, last year, remember that meeting me and Pam went to at the county where they had, I don't know, it was ARPA money, Pam, or whatever, so we went up and we decided not to go after it? Remember me and you went up to the county thing?
Yeah,
And in order to,
yeah.
there was funds available, but questionable whether you'd get them. Well, in order to get them, we'd have had to do
It's a lot of
the same
paperwork.
thing we did with the engineer to design Pioneer in 99. Okay, if we'd have had that done, we could at least put in for it, it wouldn't have cost us a nickel at the time. So here's just something to think about, we don't have to make a decision tonight, but we should probably next month, think about it. When we do 105th, okay, we're gonna probably wanna do the same thing there, because we got the two. Yeah, do the same thing we did here, it cost us a fair amount of money, and so I was thinking, we can wait a little while, and then have the same thing done to the trail and 105th. That would give us two things, it would give us the engineer's estimate, we'd have all the drawings and all this stuff, and if something like that came up again, because what they said, in order to apply for funding, because you never know what's gonna come up out of the state, you had to be ready to go. You had to have an engineered drawing, you had to have an engineer's estimate. If we'd have had that, we had a slim chance, but there's a possibility we could have got it. And then after seeing just how long it took to get that, our engineer's study done, I mean, what'd that take, about 3-4 months? At least, maybe 4 or 5? Like how long that takes? Well, I'm thinking a lot of these other people are gonna be in the same boat. Maybe they didn't apply, because, well, we'll never get our stuff in time. So think about doing that same thing for them roads, and eventually it's not money wasted, because we're gonna need it anyway when we go to, whether it's this board or another board goes to pave them, they're gonna need them facts and figures, and it would help us for budgeting. He guy might come back and say, oh yeah, Pioneer is 300,000, the other one's 750,000 in today's dollar.
Yeah, agreed, and it would help us spread our costs, because like right now, we're paying Pioneer and 99th all in 1 year, versus if you paid the engineering cost for 105th next year, and then you build it 2-3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think like Wayne and Karla mentioned, definitely want to bounce kind of whatever we build up off of them to make sure we're on the right track as well, using some of their resources that they offer.
And then we can maybe save a little money on that engineering stuff, because we got them tests back from the county on Island Drive, so we can give them to SEH and,
Boring company, skip that 15.
we wouldn't need the boring samples. We probably don't need boring samples on 105th, because you kind of know what's down there. Well, I take that back, you kind of need them everywhere. Okay, that's all I got.
Just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, and thanks again, Paul.
Second that.
Yep.